Yes. We were just looking at the bondage of sin itself was worse than the Egyptian bondage. Yes. John 1:29. Yes. That's the book of John. Yes. See, the way that I see things, yes, is when I inform you of a crime, you're obligated to enforce the law. Yes. And when you refuse to do that because in your mind you'd rather have us in bondage, yes, you've introduced a sin known as tax evasion. Now, John 1:29. Look at here. The next day, John seeth Jesus coming unto him, and saith, Behold, the Lamb of God, which taketh away the sin of the world. This is he of whom I said, After me cometh a man, yes, which is preferred before me, for he was before me. And I knew him not, but that he should be made manifest to Israel. Therefore am I come baptizing with water. Yes. Now this Jesus, the Lamb of God, which taketh away the sin of the world. Yes. It's so good that he does that. But does he take the taxes? You know, for every charity, yes, that hasn't had their properties assessed, yes, it might be a good idea to do that. And then look at the actual legislation that has been passed, that has to be enforced, yes. And then assess, yeah, fees and taxes based upon the assessed value of your exemption. Oh, now this same Jesus, yes, he wants to set you free from the bondage of your crime. Now, I am, yes, wanting my sons today. Yeah. Then I want to speak to Marilyn about the sincerity and truth of our relationship. And it looked to me like the president of OPEC. Yes. Could you call the oil petroleum? Do you know what the acronym OPEC means? No. Well, there's a group of nations that said we produce oil, yes, and we have a lot to do with the actual global price of oil, yes. See, I'm concerned about oil consumption, yes. Now, let's say you have an oil company. Oh, look at you, former Secretary of State. Rex. Texaco. Exxon. BP. Oh, British Petroleum. How is the Queen today? You know, a lot of charities thought they were royalty. And do the royal families have their properties assessed at actual market valuation? See, over here in the United States, let's say you were doing some comparable valuations of properties that were going to be sold. Yes. Now, a lot of appraisers, they don't look at the comps. Their thought was, well, 1023 Kitchen Dick Road decided to be profit and poor profit. Yes. And then they do the comps, and then there's this market valuation curve of the actual properties around the property that's being bought or sold. Yes. Now, I'm not saying that every appraiser is stupid. I'm not saying that. But let's say you're an appraiser. And for some reason, the comps around the property come in that one of them's very low valued. Yes. And when wanting to value your property, um, for some reason, it's worth less than you would have thought it was. Yes, yes, yes. Hmm. Now, we quite often don't take into consideration the exemptions of charities and what they're not paying in fees and taxes. Yes. But let's say I did value everything at an equal assessed value based upon the structures and the actual property itself. There's what's known as the broker opinion. Yes. Where you can go online, you can pretty much Zillow or Google or whatever the fuck you want to do. Yes, you do. And you can get approximate value of your property based upon the broker. There's a certain software program. Yeah, let's go ahead. That a lot of mortgage companies use when valuing the mortgages available to the properties that are going to be bought and sold. Yeah. Now, let's say you have a mortgage on your church. Maybe Kingsway has some long-term debt. I remember being there, and it seemed like their mortgage was like 750,000. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But their assessed value is only 10,000. Let's go ahead. I would like to know the software. Yes. That automates the actual property value. Now, some properties might not be able to sell for their actual valuation based upon the assessor's valuation, depending on how you configure, yes, the broker opinion. And then could you call the queen? Pouch! I'd like to know if the royal families haven't been valuing their property. Yes. So it's just, I know, queen. It seemed like these royal palaces are not being valued at what they should be valued at, so as to affect the valuation of the properties around them. Now, let's say I went through OPEC. Yes. Could you get me the oil companies? Yes. Let's say you thought you should have a charitable deduction because you're an oil producer. You need to be.